What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you my first real deck back on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a very cool deck that I found and saw that people were using, centered around Shining Genesect and Venusaur. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. And also, as for something new, Jolt and I have created a Token Minorities Discord server where fans, friends, and subscribers can all just come and interact and talk about like draft format, TCG, among other things. I mean, we do just talk randomly about life and Pokemon as well, so that link will be in the description. Just come in, we'll talk randomly about random things, and it's a good time for all. So yeah, check that out in the description below. And yeah, on to the deck. Actually, no, not the deck yet. I have to ask the question of the day. And this is really just kind of a general question. What are your guys' thoughts on the current meta? Now, I will admit, I am way out of touch with the meta. I took almost 2 months off, and the meta just changed incredibly. Like a new set came out in Shining Legends, and I really didn't think it would have all that much, well, that big of an effect, but it really did because of Zoroark GX, I'm finding. So my question of the day, yeah, what are your thoughts on this current meta? From what I've seen, admittedly, again, I'm out of touch. I don't know everything about the meta. I haven't done as much research as I would like to do in order to have an informed and developed opinion. But from what I have seen on the ladder, that is where I'm basing my thoughts about the meta, is from what I've seen on the ladder and just what I've seen from different videos here and there, just kind of watching certain regionals, matches, and whatnot. I'm seeing that it's a lot of Zoroark. The standard meta right now is like Zoroark and pretty much anything else. Like, to be fair, Zoroark is phenomenal and can be splashed in a ton of different decks, but I'm just seeing that there is a bunch of Zoroark, and from trying to play on the ladder and just encountering it every single time, it gets kind of stale unless you're running a fighting deck, which I have tried a little bit and have gotten some easy wins, but it just seems like everything is Zoroark or Gardevoir. Like, it just seems like it's those two decks, just some weird combination of those two decks that I've been running into. So what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I guess I've been seeing Buzzwole a little bit, but it seems like the current meta is just saturated with Zoroark and anything that can be paired with Zoroark. So yeah, that's what I have seen from the current meta. Again, my opinion is very uninformed. It's really only based on what I have seen on the ladder and just random little encounters that I've seen on YouTube, just trying to watch matches, get caught up, that type of thing. So again, let me know what your thoughts are on the current meta and why you think that, or what decks you would like to see have some success. Now onto the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Shining Genesect. Now this was a deck that I did see run by, I don't remember who it was. I was watching, I think it was a Memphis Regionals video, and I saw this version of the deck with a 1/1 of Fomantis and Lurantis. So if you guys know which video or who was running that, please leave that in the comment section below. I want to give the person who piloted this particular version of the deck credit, because I could not find a deck list, so I just kind of had to go off of what I tested with and what I felt would be good numbers. And so things might not be particularly ideal in certain situations, but from the testing that I've done with this deck, it seems like the numbers that I have worked out pretty well, and so I've decided to go with it. So obviously, Shining Genesect has Gaia Blaster. It's basically another iteration of Keldeo Secret Sword, Raikou's Thunder Lance, like just an attack for 3 colorless energy that has 50 base and does 20 more times the number of a certain type of energy, in this case grass energy, attached to it. And we're pairing that with Venusaur with the Jungle Totem ability. Each basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 grass energy, and you can't apply more than 1 Jungle Totem at a time, but really you just pile energy onto Genesect and hit for absolutely absurd numbers, given that you are simply a basic and not even a GX. And then of course we have a little bit of Fomantis Lurantis action in here to be able to recur energy from the discard pile. And also Solar Blade a little bit, although I have not Solar Bladed, I've only Flower Supplied. But yeah, you have that option as well. So for the numbers of Pokemon, 1 Oranguru and 1 Lele. Now, I really tested this out for a while. I was like, you know what? I only really have room for 1/1. Let's see how this works. And not gonna lie, it actually worked out decently well, only running 1 Oranguru and 1 Tapu Lele. Like, that's... I know that you might look at that and be like, what the heck, that's a horrible idea. And initially, I would completely agree with you. I'd be like, okay, you're dumb for running 1 Lele, because as soon as it's prized, you're screwed. But it actually has not come back to bite me in my testing. In fact, it's worked out really, really well. Like, I've had Oranguru when I needed it, I've had Lele when I needed it, and I've had one of either of them when I needed it. So it's like, it's worked out well, but definitely test that out for yourself, and don't take my word on the 1/1 of Oranguru and Lele, because I don't think it's going to work out in all scenarios, especially if you play a ton of games with this deck. I opted for a 3-1-3 line of Bulbasaur through Venusaur. Yes, you can only have 1 Venusaur up at a time to get the Jungle Totem effect, like they do not stack. However, Venusaur is important enough and critical enough to the strategy that you want to have as many as... Well, you want to get it up consistently by turn 2, turn 3 at the latest, otherwise you're going to struggle, so that's why there's a relatively heavy line. Only a 1/1 of Fomantis Lurantis, because it's very nice to have that flower supply to get energy out of the discard pile, but at the same time, it's not necessary. You don't really need it. It's just kind of a nice option to have, so that's why we have a 1/1 of that. And then for Shining Genesect, I'm running the absolute max number, because this thing is prone to getting knocked out. Like, it's not a basic... Well, it is a basic. It's not a GX or EX, so it doesn't have a lot of HP. So we're just kind of relying on a non-EX attacker. So we... Non-EX GX attacker. Sorry, I'm still not quite getting used to saying GX all the time. But yeah, so that's why there's 4 of them, because it's not as bulky as I would want it to be, and we want to be able to cycle those as quickly and often as possible. 4 Max Elixir for energy acceleration, just try to get Genesect powered up as quickly and efficiently as possible. 3 Rare Candies, again, a very large number of Rare Candies for only needing 1 Venusaur at a time. Like, that's really all you need is 1 Venusaur, and that's all you're practically going to be able to use. But it is so important to the strategy, again, that you want to be able to get it up as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of resources dedicated to that. 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Super Rod as our means of recursion. 4 Ultra Ball to guaranteed get what we want when we want. 2 Aether Paradise Conservation Areas. That is a mouthful. In order to let our Genesect have a little bit more longevity. I mean, it's not going to have a ton. It will never have a ton particularly. I mean, okay, to be fair, 130 for a non-EX or GX basic is pretty solid. It's actually very solid. However, again, it's only 130. It's not a lot. So we want to give Genesect every chance to get 2 attacks off. Like, normally you're planning on having Genesect get 1 attack off, then dying, then your next Genesect, then etc., etc. But if you can get Genesect to get 2 attacks off, the prize trade is heavily, heavily in your favor, so that is amazing for you. 1 Brigette, 3 Guzma, 4 of N and Sycamore, just because, I mean, that's kind of the standard skeleton I've been seeing of supporters, so I decided, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 2 Choice Bands for damage output, for boosting that a little bit. 2 Float Stones, because Venusaur is incredibly heavy, and actually so is Ivysaur. Ivysaur is fat. We need to put Ivysaur on a diet. It has 4 retreat costs. That is nuts. Bulbasaur only has 2, so that's not too bad. But man, Ivysaur with 4 retreat, that's just fat. But yeah, 2 Float Stones for that. 2 Wishful Batons. I've tried this out in this deck, and also the guy that I originally saw ran Wishful Baton, and it works out really, really well, because you're able to keep energy on the board and move them around to Genesects after your 1 Genesect dies. And then 12 Grass Energy to statistically hit Max Elixir whenever we play it, but also just have it whenever we want it. So yeah, that is the deck. Let's just go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have got one against Battleland with a Fighting and Psychic deck, so honestly no idea what he could be running. I mean, could be like Buzzwole, which, I mean, given the current state of the meta, is a very solid possibility. Luckily, we do get to go first, and I get... this is not the greatest hand. Actually, it's really not that good. I mean, if I get... Okay, if I get a Genesect or something else, like if I just get a basic, actually, then I will be able to use this hand a lot better, and I actually do get a Genesect off of that, which, I mean, was ideal, but, I mean, again, any basic would do. So let's see, can I hit both of these Max Elixirs? I hit the first one. Can I hit the second one? Let's cross our fingers, because if so, wow. I do hit it, so I will be able to attack turn 2, at the very least, with or without a Bulbasaur, and this is beautiful. Like, I just end myself into a perfect hand, because what I can do right here, Ultra Ball, get rid of a Grass Energy, and probably the Guzma for a Bulbasaur, so I can start trying to get that thing set up closer to a Venusaur. And let's just energy reload onto the active. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. That way my opponent has to have a Guzma in order to disrupt me, and at the very least, even if he ends me into a hand that I can't use, and I even just don't draw energy at all, I'll still be able to get an attack off. And if he does not get the Regirock out of the active spot, I will be able to take an Oko with my Genesect. So I am in a beautiful spot. Granted, I feel like I have kind of the matchup. I feel like I have a positive matchup against this particular, well, more so just because of the Regirock, and also once I get a Venusaur up, it's going to be very difficult to Buzzwole, even spreading damage around, to be able to KO me. So that's, I think I have a good matchup in this in general. And my opponent does not disrupt my hand, meaning that I do have that energy and the Choice Band for next turn. If he does not get like a Float Stone, then he will not be able to retreat his Regirock out, and I will immediately be up two prizes with Genesect even before I'm able to get a Venusaur up. So we don't see a Float Stone yet. Does he not have anything? No, he Fighting Fury Belts the Buzzwole, and he does not. So we are going to be able to take a prize immediately, and unfortunately I draw a Venusaur, and I really would have liked to have had that when I didn't have the when I had the rare candies. And wow, this is not the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Brooklet Hill, see if there's anything, just look through my deck. Okay, there's 2 more Genesects in there, that is fine. Let's go ahead and Max Elixir, I whiff. That's okay as well. I like the fact that I have a Wishful Baton, that'll be really nice in order to keep my energy on the board. Let's go for the Aether Paradise. And then Gaia Blaster knock out my opponent's Regirock and take 2 prizes, and he's honestly not in any type of position to be able to knock out my Shining Genesect, which is phenomenal for me. I don't get a supporter or any way to get a supporter, so that's unfortunate, but at the very least, I mean, I'll be able to attack, I'll be able to evolve my Bulbasaur into an Ivysaur, and oh boy, gets rid of the Wishful Baton and my conservation area, which is very nice for me because, I mean, I have a conservation area anyway. I get to keep my Choice Band, which will be great for extra damage later, and this Buzzwole still is not going to be able to KO me. Like, he'd have to have a pretty crazy turn, like a Switch, Max Elixir, and an Energy, and then he'd have to have a Float Stone as well in order to pull that off, but he luckily does not, so he does just have to hit my Genesect, and there's the Rare Candy, decided to show up a little bit late. I am going to go ahead and evolve my Bulbasaur into an Ivysaur. I'm holding on to the Float Stone, just because I don't need to play that down yet, and if he has a second Field Blower, that could end badly for me, and granted, this could also end badly for me if he has a Guzma and an N or something to that effect, and is able to, well, actually just an N and a Lycanroc GX, to where he brings up my Ivysaur and I'm not able to retreat it, so he is going to be able to get the knockout because I don't retreat it. So okay, there's the N, and if we see the Lycanroc, my opponent might be able to just strand that Ivysaur in the active, so not a good play by me, but luckily I am rewarded for my suboptimal plays by just drawing immediately into a Float Stone, and he's going to be able to knock out my active Genesect. But this turn I will be able to, at the very least, get a Venusaur and then and as well as get a Float Stone on it. And wow, I get 2 rare candies, which actually those are the perfect 2 things to discard, because I mean, I'm not going to need them anymore now that I will have the Venusaur out and ready, which is perfect. So I'm going to be able to take a knockout on this Buzzwole, and my opponent doesn't have anything else set up, and I'm going to be able to end for 4 cards. He still gets 5. That is fine. Ooh. So the question is, I think I want to Ultra Ball. I mean, this will get rid of my entire hand, but at the same time, I want to have something in the background. But I can always just go for an Oranguru to be able to draw cards, play the energy onto the Genesect, and then let's go ahead and instruct for 3 cards. I do think that going for that was superior. Maybe I can get a Genesect, which I actually have in the discard pile. So yes, I will want to grab that Genesect right back out so that I can start powering that thing up. I can go ahead and get an energy onto it this turn. Do I have enough for the knockout? I should, with energy reload. So let's go ahead and put an energy onto it. That way I have a backup attacker. If somehow my opponent is able to knock out the Genesect this turn, then let's just go for a Gaia Blaster. Still hits for 160, which is insane. Knocks out my opponent's Buzzwole, and we're in a perfect spot. Like, just straight up perfect. My opponent, I don't know how they can knock me out. Like, if they have a DCE, I guess they could knock me out with Lele. But yeah, that with Lele, that would be enough. But otherwise, I don't know how they're going to knock me out. And given, okay, there's the fighting energy that he just plays onto Buzzwole, so it really doesn't matter at all. I am going to be able to knock out this Buzzwole, and even with the Regirox, yeah, even with the Regirox, he doesn't have a way to knock me out. He's racking up damage, but all I have to do this turn is just play an energy. Actually, I can also just go ahead and I could Guzma if I wanted to and bring up a Regirock, and then, which I think I might actually do just for style points. I mean, I could do math, and I'm pretty sure my math is right, but why go for, why trust myself when I can go for the guaranteed KO, bring up a Regirock, go right into Venusaur, and then retreat my Venusaur out back into my Genesect, and then just go for gigantic overkill with Gaia Blaster, hit him for 480 damage in 1 turn. That's nuts. And we are able to take that first game. I mean, Genesect, I was able to hit a couple Max Elixirs early, which really put me in the driver's seat. And from there, we stepped on the gas and did not look back. So, granted, we did have the type advantage, in my opinion, simply due to the Regirox. But if it was just straight Buzzwole, I still think we would have been able to come out on top anyway, just because of the setup we were able to get and how quickly we were able to get set up. So that was a very, very solid first game. Let's go ahead and see if we can try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we found another one, and oh boy. This is going to be interesting because we are up against a fire deck, which, I mean, in case you guys can't, or in case you guys don't know Pokemon, fire has an advantage against grass. So, I wasn't trying to be condescending, just sarcastic. But, so this is going to be interesting, because what Genesect relies on is the prize trade being in its advantage, or being in its favor. And yeah, going up against a fire deck means that it will be able to get one-shotted by a lot of stuff. And hopefully, I mean, basically, I just had to keep energy on the board. If I can keep energy on the board, I will have a chance. But if I don't keep energy on the board, then the fire things will just be able to absolutely run over me, and that will not be a good time. I start off with a solid hand. I mean, it's good, but I don't have a, well, there's a supporter. That's nice. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and Wishful Baton, Choice Band. I'm just going to play my hand down as much as possible so that the Lele is as effective as it can be. And I have a choice of going for Sycamore or an N. An N can keep the Venusaur in my deck, but a Sycamore also activates Rescue Stretcher as an option. But I think I want to keep these Sycamores as options late in the game to be able to guarantee draw a bunch of cards as opposed to only a few here and there. And wow, this works out beautifully. Let's see if I can hit the Max Elixir and... Jeez. So, absolutely perfect first turn. Let's energy reload just so I can have the attack next turn and end it right there. Do I want to play the Oranguru down? Yes, I do. I might as well play it down. Wow, that was... Man, that was such a perfect first turn. I mean, I have a Rare Candy and Venusaur in my hand for next turn. I have an Oranguru down. I have 2 Genesect out. 1 Genesect with a Choice Band, another with a Wishful Baton. Rare Candy Venusaur in my hand. I know I probably already said that already, but I mean, Rare Candy Venusaur in my hand. Like, that's exactly what you want. And my opponent appears to be playing Wishful Baton as well, in addition to having a bunch of Ho-Oh. So, wow, they do not have anything to start off. That is huge. So what I'm going to do, Ultra Ball, get rid of the Brigette and my other Ultra Ball to grab grab another Genesect. I might as well, and there is Sycamore. There's 4 Sycamore and 2 Guzma, so I have to be somewhat careful with how I play my Guzmas. I mean, unless I can get prizes, which I should be able to. So let's go ahead and Rare Candy into Venusaur, and then Oranguru for 3 cards. Hopefully I get enough that could potentially get me a knockout, but, I mean, that's fine with me. I'm able to get a Float Stone and a Sycamore, and there's an energy. That's what I like to see. So let's play that onto my active Genesect. Play the Choice Band onto my other Genesect. I mean, Field Blower can only get rid of 2 things, so playing multiple things down once you get beyond the threshold of 2, really not that big of a deal. Now, unfortunately, I don't hit any Max Elixirs, which does not allow me to take the one-hit knockout on the Ho-Oh, but I think at this point, given my setup, I'm in a pretty okay spot. Unfortunately, my opponent top decks a Sycamore. Ah, man. I mean, that stinks for me, but at the same time, my opponent had absolutely nothing, so I guess it's only fair, question mark, that they got something. But we see another Ho-Oh getting powered up, a Turtonator coming down, and at this point, all I have to do is just keep powering up my Genesects. Like, just keep powering them up. I will be taking, hopefully taking one-hit knockouts at this point against his mons. Ooh, Max Elixir. Can we hit it? Yes, we do, and we actually have 4 energy. Man, can you imagine how busted Max Elixir would be if you were able to attach all the energy that you got in a turn with it? And wow, I just get a ton of energy, so I'm just going to start powering up Genesect. Gonna energy reload onto one on the bench just because I don't need that insane amount of damage from the active one, and I might as well keep these... 2 on the bench powered up just in case, or powered up as much as possible just in case my active gets knocked out. Even though I do have Wishful Baton, if he's able to knock me out, plus like a Field Blower that could put me in a worse spot, but I get another Max Elixir. So at this point, I'm feeling great. Like I'm on top of the world in terms of what I have right now. Like I can just keep powering up the Genesects in my hand. We have a Kiawe as well. Wow. So, what's he going to attach to? Okay, he attaches to the one on the bench. That's fine. That's the right play because this one, I mean, is 1 away from being able to knock me out. I mean, Sacred Fire wouldn't even do much anyway. And I am just able to... do I want to Super Rod anything back in just yet? Nah, that's fine. Let's just Max Elixir, see if we hit it, even though we had a bunch in our hand and we still managed to hit it. So what I'm going to do... where do I want to attach my energy for this turn? So Gaia Blaster, able to 2-hit KO at the very minimum. So what I think I'm going to do is just keep attaching to the ones on the bench. I'm not going to be able to get an Oko. So I am just going to Gaia Blaster right now. I mean, I could maybe, I might have been able to pull off an Oko with my Choice Banded one on the bench, but at the same time, like, I'm in no... I'm not pressured to take knockouts in one turn. Like, my opponent is pressured to start making stuff happen. I am not, so I'm just going to make the safe play, get damage all around the board. That way my opponent can't try to just keep me from... knocking things out and ending me low, like hoping that I don't get a Guzma, that type of thing. So I'm just getting all my things powered up on the bench and taking 2-hit knockouts with my active Genesect, and that is perfectly okay with me. We have a switch, okay, into his Ho-Oh on the bench. Like I said, this is fine. Like, Phoenix Burn, yes, it will be able to knock me out, but I get both of my energies, and now I'm able to take a one-hit knockout, and that Ho-Oh is going to be an option for a KO later in the game anyway. So let's just go ahead and put both of these energy on this Genesect. My opponent is going to be able to take a prize, but that is honestly fine with me. Let's promote the Oranguru. I mean, I'm not obviously going to be attacking with it. The only reason I'm promoting it is because of... The only reason I'm promoting it is because it has a Float Stone. So I'm going to Super Rod these things back in the deck. I don't really want anything else, just the Genesect. And then I could Ultra Ball for like a Bulbasaur, but actually I probably should have Ultra Balled for it. That way I don't draw it anymore. But, ooh, here we go. Let's energy up this Genesect. Ah, wait, hold on. So that's 8. That's 160, 210. Yeah, 210's a knockout. I have a knockout with the Genesect with the Choice Band. Actually, can I get a knockout with this one? So that's 6. That's 170. That's 200. Actually, this Genesect can take a knockout. So I'm actually going to power up this one on the bench a little bit more. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to power... okay, I'm going to power up this one on the bench, but retreat into this one, because this one still gets the knockout thanks to the Choice Band. And this way, no matter what my opponent goes into, I mean, if he manages to knock out this Genesect, which, I mean, he can for sure with his Ho-Oh, like, he can definitely get the knockout, but that will result in me, you know, winning the game. But if he does knock out this Genesect, I have a Genesect on the bench that I can Guzma up, well, that I can just knock out whatever he goes into. So he has to Guzma up. I was skipping thoughts. He has to Guzma up this Genesect on the bench in order to be able to survive this next turn. If he just knocks out this active Genesect, then my Genesect that is on the bench will be able to one-hit KO whatever he brings out, no matter what it is. Even with a Fighting Fury Belt, I will be able to knock it out. So I'm really not worried at all at this point. And we do see the Skyla come down even. So unless he benches a non-EX or GX, this Genesect, yeah, Field Blower can take away my Choice Band all at once. That doesn't... It's not going to matter because I'm doing 250 damage. Like, I'm taking something out. Something's going down. Like, I'm going to be able to take the win this turn. And, like, yeah, that's straight up. That's what's going to happen. Like, if he attacks... If he leaves it active, which he does, I mean, I even had the Guzma in my hand, so I pretty much... My opponent had really no way of keeping me from winning the game at this point. I'm going to promote Oranguru just because... let's bring up the Ho-Oh. I could do the math, but I really don't feel like it. I have the Guzma anyway. Like, I could have knocked out the Turtonator. Yeah, 250, I would have been able to knock it out, but... I didn't feel like being wrong, like in case for whatever reason I just missed something super, super obvious. Like I missed a Hex Maniac that isn't even legal in this format and wasn't played at all. I don't know. Just basically I took the safe way out that I guaranteed had. That way I didn't have to rely on mental math because mental math has failed me in the past. So yeah, I just decided to go with that. And with that, I think I'm going to end the video right there. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. We were able to take out a Fire deck, which I consider a win, with a Genesect deck, so that's pretty cool. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.